Here we have the inside of the Mobilvetta K-Yacht 79. If I firstly come over to the main control panel, I can turn the 12 volt on by touching the panel itself. Along the top here we have the date and the time. By touching either of these we can then go into its menu and then alter the time, date, and we can also set a wake up alarm if we wanted to. Next we have the internal and external temperatures. We have this one here that lets us know if we have main supply connected or not. Whenever main supply is connected, it will go green like it is at the moment. And then we have the settings menu just at the top here. Key beeps on and off just here. The brightness of the screen, how quickly it times out, and how bright the screen is when it does time out. We don't need to worry about this top one just here. We have no extra Bluetooth devices fitted to this particular motorhome. Every single one of these buttons in the center here will take you to exactly the same screen, and it will give you the condition of the vehicle battery, the condition of the leisure battery, how much water is in the fresh tank, and how much water is in the waste tank. And you can also put alarms on all of these. So now if either of the batteries got low, you would get a chime. The same is when your fresh tank is low or your waste tank is high. Main cabin lights on and off just here. Once this is activated, they can all then be individually turned on and off on their own switches. Awning light on and off just here, and then we have water pump on and off just here. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. The auxiliary one here needs to be on to allow you to be able to flush the toilet. And then to turn the 12 volt completely off again, just press here. Beside the main control panel, we then have the Truma control panel for the heating and hot water. At the moment you'll see it's displaying the time, and it will also let you know if you have main supply connected. If I now press the button just here, a series of icons will appear, and as I rotate the button they will begin to flash. So if we start with the first icon just here, this one is for your heating. So if I now click on it, heating is off. All I now need to do is just rotate the button and pick whatever temperature I would like it inside the motorhome, and it will go right the way up to 30 degrees. Once you've decided, just click to store it in, and you'll now see a little flames appeared above, and that flame there just represents the heating system, and it's just letting you know that you've set a parameter. Whenever the heating is in operation, the flame will begin to flash, and it will continue to flash until it's achieved the temperature you have asked. Besides heating, we then have hot water, and again if I now press, hot water is off. If I rotate, I can heat hot water in eco mode, and this will give us a water temperature of about 40 degrees. If I rotate again, I can heat in hot, and this will give us a temperature of about 60 degrees. And if I rotate again, we can also perform a boost on the boiler. The boost was mainly designed for if there's going to be more than one of you having showers in quick succession of each other, or if you just want hot water very quickly. If you do perform the boost and the heating's running, the heating will turn off because it needs the extra power to perform the boost. And again, the icon will continue to flash until it's achieved the temperature you have asked. After heating and hot water, we then have power source. So currently, to heat hot water and to heat the motorhome itself, I'm using mains electricity using 2 kilowatts, indicated by the 2 lightning strikes up here. If I rotate the button, I can lower the power consumption to 1 kilowatt. Very handy if we're on a low amp site to try and avoid tripping. If I rotate again, we can run in dual fuel, so we can run on a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts or a mixture of gas and mains at 1. This particular setting is very handy, especially in the winter months. If you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly, it will only consume gas as it's required. And then lastly, if we have no main supply, we can solely run on gas. Next we have the circulation fan for the heating, so we can either run the fan in eco mode or high, and we can also use this fan to vent the motorhome as well, but we do need to firstly turn off both heating and the hot water system. And if I now return to it, you'll see that we can now put it into vent mode, and we have a fan speed of 1 to 10. If we now drop to the lower icons, this first one here is for a basic timer. So if I now click, we can set a start time and then an end time. And then once we've done that, we can then decide what we would like on. So let's say we want the heating at 18 degrees, we want hot water at 60. We want to be using dual fuel, and we'll leave the actual fan itself in eco. Once we've done all this, timer on or off, and if I now activate the timer, now within that time period those settings would apply, as you can now see along the top there. If I now turn it back off again, when I go back in, I can then re-alter it again. Next we have clock set. And then lastly we have the settings menu. In here we have offset, which is just for the thermostat, and the thermostat is just here. So if you don't think it's quite correct, you can just slightly alter it. Temperature, just if you prefer it displayed in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of the screen, 12 or 24-hour clock, language, index more for the technicians in the workshop, it just lets them know what software it's running, and then lastly full factory reset. From time to time this control panel will throw up error codes. It will usually be something relatively basic, so if you're trying to run anything on main supply and you're not connected up, it will throw up an error code. An error code will appear where my finger is here as a warning triangle, and then if you click on it you will get a series of numbers and letters, and then if you look in the manual or Google it, it will tell you what the problem is. 9 times out of 10, as long as you rectify the problem, the error code will automatically disappear. If it doesn't automatically go out, just go back to the warning triangle and double press on it, and then it will sometimes say no error and then disappear. If you've done this and you've still got an error code, if you have anything still running along the top here, turn it off, because the system can assess things a lot faster when it's not trying to do lots of things at once. If this still does not work, I always suggest the good old-fashioned turn it off, turn it back on again, because sometimes that's all it requires. And then if you still have no luck with this, lastly do the factory reset, because sometimes that's all that's required with these control panels. If you are running the system on gas, you cannot open this rear window just here, because the flue for the boiler sits directly underneath it, and you'll see that there's a pressure switch just here. So if you are running on gas, you open this window, the pressure switch will flick out, and then you will get an error code on the control panel, because it automatically shuts the gas off to avoid any carbon monoxide poisoning. If I now come down to the seat here and just remove the cushions, you will see we have storage beneath, And then beneath that we have the location of the leisure battery. The solar panel regulator just sits here. You do not need to do anything with it. It will just smart charge the battery as it's required. This particular model of motorhome does have underfloor heating, and that is just located behind the passenger seat, just here. This will only work when you're hooked up to mains electricity. To control the table, it is all just done on this lever just here. Just literally pull it, and then you can rotate it and slide it into numerous positions. To use both travel seats, this cushion here needs to be removed, and then you'll see underneath here we have two levers that need to be pulled at the same time to then drop this section down. And now, as you can see, we then can use both travel seats. If I now remove this cushion and now just remove the top, we have the location of the water pump just there, and then we have the fresh water tank. To drain the fresh water tank down, just unscrew the cap just here, and then all we need to just do is pull that lever just there and the whole bung will come out. What this particular motorhome is also supplied with is this little section here. This can be popped in the hole first and then the bung then inserted in the top. That way when you pull the bung out, it will just drain the tank down to a low level, which is ideal for travel. If I now just remove the floor piece just here, we have the battery charger just here. We then have the main strip switches just here. So we have the individual MCB just there, main RCD and test button just here. So if anything's not working on main supply, just check to see if you've tripped just here. We then also have the 12 volt fuses just here, and again they are all labelled up here. So if anything's not working on 12 volt, just check to see if you've blown any fuse. We also have the main isolator for the leisure battery just here. So if you're not planning on using the motorhome for a long period of time, you can shut the back end down to kill any residual draw on the leisure battery. Waste tank heater just here, so if you are using the motorhome in extremely cold climate, you can just pop this on to avoid any frost damage occurring to the waste tank. The freshwater tank does not have a heater in it. As I've just shown you, it is an internal tank. Light switches just here. This one controls the light bar. This light bar is dimmable by holding the button in. Digital amplifier for the television aerial just there. You can adjust the boost on the dials just here. Beneath that we have aerial fly lead in. 12 volt plug-in point if you're running a 12 volt TV, and then we also have a mains socket as well. To slide the TV bracket out, just pull here, and then this can also rotate round as well. Sink just here. Then we have more light switches, another main socket just there. We also have USB charging points, kitchen roll holder. We also have these two parts just here. So tucked just in this section just here is the sink cover, but this can also be popped into these parts just here to give you another little shelf. Bin just here, and then we have the 3 gas rings, 2 lights, just push down, twist and push the igniter. Above that we have the extractor fan, on and off just here. In here we have storage, but you will also find all of the gas isolation taps for the motorhome as well. So we have the hob, heating and hot water, also heating as well. We then have the oven and grill and the fridge. They're all in the on position, and quite frankly they can stay like that. I always say if you do smell gas in the motorhome, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. This section does also slide out. Oven and grill just here. So if I now push in and go to the left, this will fire up the oven. And then if we push in and go to the right, we can then fire up the grill. Light switch just here. Beneath that we have the Thetford fridge freezer, on and off just here. So if I now just hold it in, off, then if I hold it back in again, on again. This is an automatic fridge freezer, so as long as you are on A for auto, it will find the best power source it can for you. So because we're currently hooked up to mains electricity, it's put us onto mains with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. If I was now to run outside and pull the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas, and then if we start the engine of the motorhome, it will then automatically go over to 12 volt maintain to keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. As you can see, the display will disappear after a few seconds, but you can see that the fridge is still on by the little green light, and if you just tap the on off button, it will then re-illuminate. I can take it out of auto, so we can manually put it onto main supply. I can manually put it onto 12 volt maintain. We're going to get an error code at the minute and a red flashing light because the engine's currently not running. And I can manually put it onto gas. But automatic is the easiest option to have it on. temperature control just here, and then this button just here turns the anti-condensation jacket on and off. The anti-condensation jacket needs to be on in the warmer months of the year to avoid any condensation building up behind the unit, which would then run down and form a puddle beneath. It does not need to be on in the colder months. And then we have the freezer compartment at the top and the fridge at the bottom. Storage again in the floor here, and in this one just here we have storage for bottles. Basin just here, and the shower cubicle. Do make sure that the shower screens are tied back for travel, and to use the shower just remove the floor plate. Light switch just here for the lighting above the basin, and light switch just here for the lights in the shower cubicle. Thetford toilet just here. To open to the cassette, just slide the grey lever across. Push to flush just here. Just remember that you do have the auxiliary button on the control panel. Close to the cassette again just here. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, make sure that nobody's left it open. Level indicator just here, so it will illuminate when the cassette needs emptying. And this switch just here just controls the blue LED lights around the mirror. Storage under both steps either side of the bed. And we can also get to the storage beneath the bed by lifting up just here. TV bracket again just there, and then aerial fly leader in, and 12 volt plug and mains plug just there. All of these top lights are just touch sensitive. And then if we then come to the back, you'll see that we have two switches just here. One does the top lights just there, and then the other one controls the blue LEDs. And again we have main socket just here. To use the overcab bed, we firstly need to make sure that the table is fully out of the way, and then secondly we need to make sure that the chairs have been lowered down. And to lower the chairs down, we just need to pull the levers just here. They also need to be rotated back round again. They rotate just on the orange levers just here. Once out of the way, just release and then just pull down. And then just attach the ladder just here. As you can see, there is also a net that can be popped up as well. Pop back up and then make sure that it is secured, especially when the motorhome is in motion. And then just pull the levers to pop the seats back up again.